Good evening, friends. I am before you with the important case law, which is in the examination of Advocate on Court of Supreme Court of India. Friends, this case law relates to a foreign company which did contract with the Indian company and dispute arose. So this is very important judgment in which a South Korean company and National Highway Authority of India is involved. And there is arbitration clause too in that. So it clarified lot of gray area through judgment. Be settled. I am going to discuss that. The South Korean company is S Engineering and Construction Company. The case is versus National Highway Authority of India, that is NHAI, and this case belongs to 2019. Friend, this is known as important judgment by the Supreme Court because it dealt with issues of contractual obligations and dispute resolution in the context of public infrastructure projects. Going to the background of the case, this case arose out of dispute between South Korean company and National Highway Authority of India concerning the contract related to construction of a highway project. In this case, the South Korean company was awarded the contract to construct a section of the Eastern Peripheral Expressway in India by the National Highway Authority of India. However, during the course of contract, dispute arose regarding delay in payments, change in scope of work, and other issues. South Korean company argued that National Highway Authority of India had failed to meet its contractual requirements, obligations, which led to delay in the completion of the project and additional costs for the company. The parties had agreed to settle the dispute under the arbitration clause in the contract, but when the arbitration award was passed, there were issues about the enforcement of the award and the jurisdiction of the courts. So key issues, law points, the key issues in this case were whether the arbitration award passed in favor of the South Korean company should be enforced by the Indian courts. This was the first issue. Second issue was whether the courts in India or South Korea had jurisdiction over the matter, given that the South Korean company was a foreign company. Third issue was whether the National Highway Authority of India was liable for the delays and additional costs incurred by the South Korean company, and if so, to what extent. And fourth issue was whether penalties imposed by National Highway Authority of India for delay were justified or excessive. So Supreme Court, after going through the details of the case, gave its ruling, and the court held that under the Indian Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, arbitration awards that are passed by the foreign tribunal, in this case, South Korean tribunal, can be enforced in India, provided they meet the requirement under Section 48 of the Act. The court observed that there was no reason to interfere with the arbitration award as it has been passed in accordance with the terms of the contract and was consistent with the public policy of India. The court emphasized that even though the arbitration took place in South Korea, the contract between the South Korean company and National Highway Authority of India had a clear jurisdiction clause that recognized the arbitration award as enforceable in India. It was clarified that Indian courts had the authority to enforce the award even though it was issued by the foreign tribunal, so long as the conditions for enforcement were met under Indian law. The court noted that while there was delay and cost acceleration on the part of South Korean company, these issues were largely due to failure on the part of the National Highway Authority of India to fulfill its contractual obligations, such as providing timely payment and meeting other requirements. The court also highlighted that National Highway Authority of India has imposed penalties on South Korean company for delays, but the penalties were considered to be unjustified considering the circumstances of the case. Uh, the court emphasized the importance of fairness and transparency in the execution of public contracts, especially those involving foreign entities. The judgment underscored that public authorities like National Highway Authority of India should not take advantage of contractual terms to impose undue penalties or impose unreasonable conditions on contractors. So, whether friends, the significance of the judgment is that this case reaffirmed the principle that foreign arbitration awards can be enforced in India provided they are in compliance with the requirement set out in Indian law. It highlighted the ongoing importance of the international arbitration in resolving commercial disputes, especially in large-scale infrastructure projects involving foreign companies. The judgment clarified the jurisdictional issues in international contracts involving foreign entities. It emphasized that contractual agreements between the parties should dictate the forum for arbitration and enforcement, not the nationality of the parties involved. This case reinforced the importance of fairness and equity in public infrastructure projects. The Supreme Court took a strong stance against the imposition of arbitrary penalties on contractors, especially when the delay or failure to perform by due to factors beyond the contractor's control, such as National Highway Authority's failure to meet its obligation. The court's ruling underlined the role of Indian courts in upholding and enforcing international arbitration award. It established that Indian judiciary could play an active role in resolving disputes involving foreign companies, provided the conditions under the Indian Arbitration Act are satisfied. So, nutshell conclusion is, friends, the South Korean company versus National Highway Authority of India case is significant because it deals with international arbitration, jurisdictional issues, and disputes resolution in public infrastructure projects. The Supreme Court decision clarified key legal principles regarding the enforcement of foreign arbitration awards in India and reinforced the need for fairness and transparency in public contracts. The judgment also emphasized that penalties and other contractual obligations should be reasonable and justified, especially in cases where delays are caused by failure on the part of public authority, such as National Highway of India. So, friends, in this way, our Supreme Court came to the rescue of law as well as foreign arbitration rulings. This is the greatness of our judiciary that is playing great role in great situations. That's all. God bless you all. See you again. Have a nice evening.